All right, let's jump right in. We're going to explore this really powerful idea from a philosopher way back in the 10th century. He asked a massive question, one that still resonates today. What if divine law isn't just a bunch of random, arbitrary rules? What if it's actually a brilliant, logical system designed for our own good?
And really, that's the central puzzle, isn't it? For centuries, people have wrestled with this. Are all these commandments, are they just a heavy burden we have to carry? Or could they actually be a carefully designed path to a better, happier life? Well, a thinker over 1,000 years ago was absolutely convinced he'd cracked the code.
So who was this thinker who took on such a huge challenge? His name was Saadia Gaon. He was this brilliant philosopher and leader in 10th century Babylonia. And you have to understand, this was a time of intense intellectual debate. He decided to defend faith, but not by asking people to turn off their brains. No, his strategy was the opposite. He wanted to embrace logic, to use reason as his primary tool.
You've got to picture the time he was living in, right in the heart of the Islamic Golden Age. He was surrounded by Greek philosophy and all this incredible rational thought. And around the year 933, he poured all his ideas into his masterpiece, the Book of Beliefs and Opinions. And that's really the source for everything we're talking about today.
So the last thing Saadia wanted was for people to just have blind faith. That wasn't his mission at all. His goal was to show that divine revelation, what's written in the texts, and human reason, well, they weren't enemies. In fact, he argued they were like two sides of the same coin, both leading to the same truth. And honestly, that's a debate we're still having in different ways today, isn't it?
Okay, so he starts with this premise that's actually pretty radical when you think about it. He says, look, God is perfect, complete. God doesn't need anything from us. So if that's true, then it follows that the commandments can't possibly be for God's benefit. They have to be for ours. The whole system must exist entirely for us.
This just flips the whole script, right? The laws aren't demands from some needy creator. Instead, they're a gift from a benevolent one. It's like being handed a roadmap, a system specifically designed to help us find happiness, achieve moral clarity, and build a truly just society. All right, so how exactly does this system work? This is where we get to Saadia's most famous, most powerful idea. It's a really simple but totally profound way of organizing all the commandments that just unlocks the whole puzzle. Here's his revolutionary insight. He argued that all divine laws, every single one, fall into just two distinct categories. That's it. And if you can just grasp this one division, it's the key to understanding the logic behind the whole thing. So this is the core of his framework. It's super clear. On one side, you've got what he calls rational laws. These are the moral principles our own brains can figure out are right. And on the other side, you have revealed laws. These are the rules we'd have no way of knowing unless they were given to us in a sacred text. Okay, let's break that down a bit more.
First up, the rational laws. Okay, think about the really obvious stuff, like don't murder, don't steal, don't lie. Saadia's point was that any thinking person, anywhere in the world, could figure out that a society just can't work without these basic rules. They're the universal ethical bedrock, the kind of stuff we still try to put into international law today.
And then you've got the revealed laws. Now these are different. We're talking about things like specific dietary rules or the particular rituals for a holiday. Your own reason probably wouldn't lead you to these exact practices. You only know about them through revelation. And they're often the very things that give a community its unique identity.
Now, this is where Saadia's argument gets so elegant. See, he doesn't just put the laws into two boxes and call it a day. He explains how they actually work together as one complete and totally necessary system, all aimed at helping us become better.
But that leads to a pretty logical question, right? If our own reason can figure out the big stuff like, hey, don't murder people, then why do we even need this whole other category of revealed laws that are, well, not so obvious?
Well, Saadia has several really powerful answers for that. He says these revealed laws do a few crucial things. For one, they give us specific actions that help reinforce those big rational ideas. They also give us super clear guidance in areas where our own reason might get a little fuzzy or, let's be honest, just get it wrong. They're amazing for building a strong community and a shared identity, and this is a big one, they also serve as a test of faith, a way to show trust in the whole system even when we can't see the immediate logic behind a rule.
So you can see how the whole system builds on itself. It's like you start with a solid foundation, that's the ethical bedrock of the rational laws. Then the revealed laws come in and build a specific framework on top of that.
The walls, the roof, the details. And when you put them together, you get a complete path toward a flourishing life, both for you as an individual and for the whole community.
Okay, but hold on. None of this, not the laws, not the rewards, not the consequences, none of it matters without one final, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle. For any of this to have any meaning at all, we humans have to be able to choose whether we follow the path or not.
And Saadia was absolutely adamant about this point. Think about it. If we were just puppets on a string, then concepts like obedience or rebellion would be completely meaningless. The entire system, the whole thing, is built on the foundation of human free will. It's our choices that give the laws all their power.
It really boils down to a simple, powerful equation. No choice equals no responsibility. Simple as that. The very idea of justice, of reward, and punishment, it only makes sense in a world where we are truly free to pick our own path.
So when you put this all together, what do you get? Saadia Gaon didn't just, defend a list of rules. He gave us a complete, cohesive, and rational framework for understanding divine law as a system of profound wisdom and genuine care.
And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. In Saadia's view, the commandments are not some heavy burden you just have to endure. Not at all. They are a divinely engineered system designed for one single purpose: to help us as human beings truly flourish.
And Saadia Gaon's solution from way back in the 10th century leaves us with a question that feels incredibly modern. In our own lives, with all the information and traditions we navigate, what is the right balance? How do we balance what our own reason tells us is right with the wisdom we inherit from revelation? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.